All right, we are officially live, guys. Welcome to Entrepreneurs in the Arena, or ETA podcast number 4. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's very, very important for entrepreneurs. It is how to dodge fallbacks and negativity. You know how many times entrepreneurs have their first fallback, man, and they never, ever get back up? Or it costs them time, and it costs them money, and it costs them their health and relationship and all sorts of things. So we're going to be discussing those things today. So if you ever had a fallback, if you ever had to deal with a negative moment, right, or negativity or negative people, you want to tune in and listen to the entire thing today. All right. So let's start it off with Mr. Mark Tirolio, man. Talk to me about, Mark, do you remember an experience that you may have had that someone would consider as a negative experience? Let's talk about in business.
Yeah, I got a hard time hearing you, John.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
It sounds muffled.
Oh, am I muffled?
That's
Is
better.
that better? That's better?
better.
All right, I was too close to the mic. So, Mark, can you tell me a little bit about a negative experience or something that someone would have called a negative experience in business that you may have had in the past?
Oh man, thank you for that, John. This is a great topic. There's been so many negative experiences I had, especially as an entrepreneur, and the one that I can remember vividly is the one where a friend of mine kept telling me, "Hey, look, man, you're working too hard. You're working too hard. You're not out in the streets like you used to be." And I took it as, it depends on. I want my viewers to think about this. Sometimes it's not about what's being said. Sometimes it's about where it's coming from and who it's coming from. So when someone that's not doing that well tell me or try to guide me and say, "Hey, look, you're working too hard. You're not having enough fun." Now, what's the definition of fun? Working hard for me personally. Working hard for me is great. I love it. But and then we was in a among friends. There's about 4 of us, and a lot of them took it very negatively, and I took it a certain way also because of people know my goals. I'm not shy about sharing what I want and who I am. So when that person said that was a negative comment to try to deflate my success or what I'm aiming at. The average person, John Leonardo, would have took that and said, "You know what? You're right. I do work too hard. Let me stop working." No. It's all gas, no brakes for me. I took it and because I have a very strong mind when it comes to negativity. I know how to deflect real good. And I laughed. I said, "You know what? You might be right. I'm gonna take my ease off the gas a little bit." And what I did, I gave him a toast. I gave him some dap and said, "I'm back to work." That was my break right there. Them 5 seconds. I just took my foot off the gas. So you have to have a certain mindset where when people are talking to you and trying to communicate with you, you have to be strong enough for yourself and for them. Because if you're not, they can control everything that happens moving forward. I could have been thinking about that every day, and I could have said something very negative to him, but I didn't allow that comment to affect me.
Man, that's powerful. So this person in business that you admire, right, says you're working too hard, take it easy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. He said, "I'm working too hard. I need to take it easy." And let me tell you, this is we're very competitive, especially us adult men, male alpha males. We're very competitive, and when you see someone is just blowing past you, you're gonna try your best verbally to distract them or to kind of bring them their success down, kind of minimize their success. And I'm not gonna allow anyone to make me humble. And I don't like the word humble. Humble means act less of, right? I believe in humility, but I'm not humble.
That's right, man. That's right. That is crazy. So it was someone that you were definitely surpassing,
Oh yeah,
right? And
smoking.
yeah, smoking them. There you go. So they were trying to slow you down, right? So basically, what they were saying is they were going slow, right?
Yeah, because John, let me tell you, all of us have the same friends, spouses, and this. When your spouse see me doing this and the way I treat my wife and my kids, they're gonna look at you like, hey, why you not doing what Coach doing? Coach is working hard and he's playing hard. So what we doing? You not even working hard and we not even playing hard. So what's up? So it's their job to come to me and say, look, you working too hard, you're making me look bad. That's what it is.
Man, that's right. That's powerful, man. And I know that you mentioned the spouses, right? I remember the first time that it crossed my mind that as a man, if the wife doesn't love the job, you give them a choice if they want to go to that slavery job or not, right? And this happened to me. My wife was sitting to my right. We were on a event, a big event, right? This is when I was in the insurance space and the marketing at the same time. And this person that's in front of us, very successful man, young as well, just like around my age, not much farther than me. And he said that when he made it, when he became to start seeing success, right, enough more than what they need for the household, he would look around and he would see his wife go to work every single day to a job she didn't want. And he said that somebody told him, how does it make you feel that your wife has another daddy? Yeah, that reaction right there is what my reaction in my heart, because my wife was right next to me and she had a job. So as a man, if you are a man at all, that would bother you, especially if your wife is right next to you hearing it. So from that moment on, I made it my mission. I'm like, listen, I know she doesn't like her job. I spoke with her. I made it a mission for me to go out there and make more than what we need to sustain ourselves, so that I can give her that luxury of go to if she wants. All right. And I gotta clarify that, because some men, this might come across the wrong way. Or to women, it's not in a controlling way. It's like, if I love you, I don't want you to go pound your hand on the wall every single day. All right. So I love that. I love it. And I know, Leo, I know you're driving, man, and you're multitasking. No worry, guys. He got life insurance, right? So
No, that's a strong statement, John. Like, to hear that. I'm curious, what went. Did you and your wife ever talk about that moment? What did she think when she heard the comments? Because she probably stayed quiet, but I'm sure in pillow talk, she probably told you how that made her feel.
when that was said at this big event with a couple thousand people in there was at least 1,100 people actually in that big event, and I didn't dare to look to my right for like about 2 minutes. But when you're right next to someone, you kind of feel like when they have a movement, when they have some sort of reaction in their body, right? So I didn't dare to look to my right at the moment, because I was like, man, it was kind of embarrassing at the same time. You know, as a man, we're meant to provide, right? And to take care of the family, and make sure that we don't put them in a situation where it's not pleasant, right? Like a job. If you don't love the job, why go to it, right? Just to pay bills, just to pay Uncle Sam. So that was one of them, man. But let me jump to Leo now, man, because that's powerful right there. Someone trying to slow you down. And by the way, before we jump on that out of that subject, most people, if they don't have the right mindset, they would slow down. They may say, you know what, you're right. Let me take Saturdays and Sunday off. Let me take Friday off. Right? Then you got 4 days working and 3 days off. Eventually, you'll be the Uber in the family, man. That's just how that goes. All right. So
quick, fast, and in a hurry.
That's right. That's right. I don't know what Leo said. He kind of froze on us right there.
Yep. So
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. So I just stopped. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Situation, actually. I kept getting told by my mom and other people that I work too much, that I have to my priorities aren't right, I got to make sure that I'm there for my family and stuff like that. Let me tell you, there's two things I took away from that. I used it as fuel, and it's come up recently as well through mentorship that sometimes the people that love you the most end up being your anchor and the ditch that you fall into. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have to be mentally strong. And I think what keeps you in the right state of mind is mentorship and also your mindset. I think mindset is the most important thing in anything when it comes to an entrepreneur. Because we're built, and since we're young, to follow bells and listen to different react. And when you're an entrepreneur, now you have to create that. But I kept getting told that I work too hard. Now I had this goal. My goal was to hit 6 figures, hit it, have no problems doing it, and keep going. And as a matter of fact, I was talking about this with a few colleagues of mine. And one of the things I did is I wrote my speech a year before when I got my ring, as they give them out, right? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Because I
Yes,
saw
sir.
John froze. Okay, so here's the first line to my speech. Ready? This is what I used it as. I used it as fuel. Now, mind you, my date was my mom, and I said, I want to thank God. I want to thank the organization. I want to thank my mom for not believing in me. That's right. I said that because right here, momentum. Always remember it. I said, I want to thank my mom for not believing in me. And then I also said, let me clean that up for you guys. The reason I say that is because it came from a place of love. I was the first person to ever touch a college floor. I was the first person to graduate in my family. She could not understand why I would give up a job where I was making 6 figures. You know the ideals of our parents: get a job, get a good retirement, retire, and live great. But that's the fake American dream. So me doing the opposite, that really gave her, every time as you're in the downslope trying to come up, she's telling me, get a real job. Like, you have your degree, you got your, like, what are you doing? And I said, I don't want to work for somebody. I want to work for myself. I want to earn my keep. And she's just fed that into me. And I just used it as fuel at the time because since I wrote my speech a year early, I couldn't wait to deliver it. And I knew, and I also cleaned it up. I said, I understand you guys are looking at me like, how harsh, he brings his mom here. My mom is my best friend. People that know my story know. But the reason I said that and I cleaned it up was that came from a place of love. She didn't want me to fail. But instead of me hearing that, I used it as the Michael Jordan syndrome. Any of you that ever seen the movie of Michael Jordan, the whole series on Netflix, where he used to make up stories about the opposition sometimes to just fuel him up to go kill it? Well, that's the way it made me feel. Like, I'm going to use this negative comment, and I'm going to work with a chip on my shoulder, and I use that to help my mindset. I hope I'm making my meaning come across clearly, because that's what I think people need to do. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to have conviction in what you're doing, so much so that nothing is going to let you go down. If you have your goals in front of you, you have the proper people in your ear. Let me tell you, one of the wisest things this year that I can say this now, my friend, mentor, and business partner told me is, hey, I'll bet on you all day. You should bet on yourself 100%. If you're not willing to bet on yourself, then what are you doing? You know where those words come from? Coach. That's what I got to say about that. Hopefully I was clear.
Hey, can I piggyback off that? You have to have, you said a chip on your shoulder. I always tell a story where you have to have 2 chips to stay balanced. If you have 1 chip, you're going to be unbalanced. You need 2 of them. You need one that's going to piss you off, just like that story about your mom that pissed you off. Now you need another one as far as that's going to motivate you and push you for your why, something that you're really, 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 really passionate about, something that you'll really die for, something that attaches with your principle, your integrity. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. It's all about believing in yourself, man, and betting on yourself also. So John, let me ask you this. How you feel about, have you ever had any fallbacks?
Let's identify fallback before I answer that question. What do you mean by that?
Fallbacks meaning well, I'm gonna say it like you failed. You tried something and it didn't go as planned. It didn't go as expected. It caught you off guard. It was harder than you thought it was.
Many times.
Okay.
And I think the second question was, how did I overcome it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. How did you overcome that?
All
what was
right.
your mindset? What was going through your mind when you was going through it, and how did you overcome that? The fallbacks.
All right. So this is about to turn real, right? So back in 2020, right before the pandemic, I was not really making it in business, right? I was kind of stuck at a top here when it comes to cash flow with the business and personal income, right? I was making basically a little bit over what most people make at a job. I was doing that as a quote unquote business owner 3 years into the business, from 2017 to beginning of 2020. And well, I went and I hired a coach. Great. I did a few things. Boom. Business went through the roof. All right. But then I started seeing clients cancel for whatever reason, right? That was my first time having quote unquote big clients cancel, right? Maybe one here, maybe one there. And that felt like a massive setback because I was already stressed as it was. The business grew way faster. I was not structurally prepared for it, right? I prepared for years on the sales side, right? And then I didn't prepare as much for the structural side, having the proper people, the proper system, the proper structure in the business. So when that started to happen, it happened very, very fast. So I was juggling a lot of things. So my income went through the roof, and then it went down like halfway through, like that within months. I started freaking out. My mindset wasn't in the right place because I let stress get to me. Right. That year, I was drinking in my house. I was a casual drinker, drinking casually every day. All right. And I did that to quote unquote suppress the stress. That's the worst thing you could ever do. Because the next day I would wake up more tired, and it sounded in my voice. I sounded tired, I sounded sluggish, it slowed me down, which added more stress as a return. So how did I react to that, man? It took me a while. I'm not gonna lie. From around when the pandemic started all the way to like October, November, business was going through the roof. And for about 3 months after that, man, I fell into the slumps mentally. I feel like things were not going my way. I was in a bad mood inside the house, to the kids, to the wife, just being just nippy, right? And that was the first time I was like, you know what? Months after, when everything started picking back up, I was like, you know what? I'm grateful that happened. For various reasons, because when I started making all that money, right, which for me, it was a lot because I've never done that before. You know what they say, that money doesn't change you, right?
Right.
But it exposes the monster inside of you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
All right. If you want to see a man, a true man, the true personality of that person, wait until they do not need nobody for anything. Wait until they got so much cash flow and time freedom and money freedom, you're going to see the true personality there. So I am glad that personality got destroyed and demolished, because I was an a-hole, like my wife said. Right? I was not a very nice person. I was snippy. I was just too much. All right. So that setback right there, how did I overcome it? Step back, let things calm, stop drinking. All right. That was the first thing I did. And I started just self-developing more, man. Mindset is everything.
You know, they said, let me tell you, and it's easy for when you're on top. It's easy when life is going good to say, hey, stop. Hey, just be positive. Hey, just start self-developing. But when you're going through that tunnel, when it's dark, when you're alone, right? When you don't hear nothing, how can you stay positive? What's the conversation you have with yourself, John, when you're going through it, when you're falling back, when you didn't see the income that you expected, when it went half, when you started drinking? How did you get back into it? How that conversation sounded? Let us into your brain. How did you talk to yourself? How did you communicate that to yourself?
Absolutely, man. So after the setback, Leo,
Yeah.
I muted Leo there for a minute.
Yes.
So after the setback, man, I started doubting my skill set.
Mm.
I started doubting the systems and the process, started doubting even advertising in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because that's what happens when you have setback after setback after setback. It's like, dude, is this thing really working?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is this selling insurance thing working? Is this selling advertisement working? Is this selling automation working? Right? What else is not working? You may even start to doubt yourself and God and your own faith. All right. But I had one conviction. I was baptized by the Holy Spirit years before, so I ain't got no doubt that's real.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but on the business side, man, I went through it. My income went way down. I was late on rent a few times in 2021, right? I had to borrow from friends and family. It was bad. Maxed out credit cards, stressed out of my mind. But again, nobody knows this stuff.
Right.
You don't share it at the moment. Doesn't feel good. All right. And you try to have a poker face while you're going through life. Person next to me might not even know it. Besides my wife, she knows everything.
Absolutely.
All right. And you might start to feel like a poser. You're like, man, dude, that imposter syndrome, right? You're like, man, like, whoa, I'm selling something here. I don't even believe it. All right. So how did I snap out of it, man? I took a step back. I'm looking at the facts. I started reading more books. I started listening to more motivational speaking stuff on YouTube. I started buying more audiobooks, right? On the things that I was doing to reinforce my belief in that thing. And by reinforcing my belief in that thing, that started to help me reinforce my belief in myself. And then what I did, I took the cautious way back in. I started selling the products, but I didn't go as fast as I did before. Like when I tell you, man, I went through the roof. My coach was like, dude, what the heck are you doing? He wanted me to speak to his class. Because what happened in my mind, it was a switch. And I was going through the roof, man. I was in love with it. But again, one thing is selling it and closing it. The other thing is fulfilling it. All right. I got the first part right. I was preparing for years, selling Grant Cardone 10X. Let's go. All right. But the structural side, it got demolished fast, and I'm grateful for it, man. But that's how I step back in. Your self-development mindset, reinforcing my belief in that product, and looking at people that were doing the same thing, that were being successful.
That's very key. Now, I remember when I was going through it. I remember I was going to work. I was doing everything right. This was 2012, September. And my production usually was at 25, 30 grand a month, income-wise. It was week 3, September. My birthday just passed, and I was at 3 grand with 1 week left in the month. And I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't snap out of it. Then I had to have I read this in a book. I had to channel my alter ego of the person I used to be when I was winning. Who was that person? What was I doing? What was I listening to? And then I couldn't find no recent wins. So I said, you know what? Let me go back to high school when I was on the football field, when I was a monster on the gridiron. Let me channel that younger person so I can feel better, because it's all about feeling better. People feel your energy. If you don't feel good, people know you don't feel good. They can see it in your eyes. They can feel it in your energy. They can feel it by your vibration, by your energy. So I had to make myself feel good. I had to force myself to feel good. And then I took a trip to Pensacola. Back then, this is when I had the infamous white Prius. I drove to Pensacola about 9 to 12 hours. And bro, I was on fire. I finished the month probably with like $27,000, $28,000 income, because I took that trip. I got uncomfortable, and I channeled my alter ego, my younger self, when I was very successful. So this is for you people who listening, the viewers. When you're going through negative conversations, even with yourself, try to remember when you was winning, when you was in your prime. You ladies, you know what I'm talking about. My men that was older, 50 years old, when you was in your prime, when you had the 6-pack, when you were feeling good, when you was Mr. Diesel. Channel that person, because if you feel good, you speak well. Your mental state is better. You could communicate with better people. So always channel and try to get somebody energy. So if that don't work, guess what? talk to somebody that you know is always on Red Bull or coffee. They're gonna get you fired up. They're gonna get you fired up. So, Leo, what you got, man? Fallbacks. How did you get out of that situation? How did you dodge standing in the fall on your back? How did you get out of that, man?
All right, I'm not muted anymore, right?
No, you
I
good.
got
We can hear you. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. How did
Yes.
I fall back? All right. So every time I've been very lucky, thanks be to God. I say it's more faith than anything else, because either I have somebody that helps me out and pulls me out of the gutter. I have a very small circle. And every time I think God, the way God speaks to me is He puts the right people in my life. But in the past, before the most recent, I would say, I really, really believe in having an attitude of gratitude. It's hard to be mad and grateful at the same time. I think it's damn near impossible. To be honest, any of you out there that are watching this, listening to this, tell me, please record it and let me know how you could do that. Because I start being grateful for everything that I do have. You know, I tell people when they tell me how am I doing, I'm blessed and highly favored with 2 feet above ground. You know, I'm happy about that. I mean it sincerely, because there's a lot of people that didn't wake up this morning. I got 2 arms, 2 legs. I got a beautiful son. He loves me. I love him. I have a mom. You know how many people don't receive that phone call that I receive? I receive a phone call from my mom every morning. There's a lot of people that don't have that. I have a lot to be grateful for. I have people that love me, care for me. God still put a roof over my head. That's how I pull myself out of it. And sometimes when I don't have that I can reach for my affirmations and on the things I'm grateful for, God sends me someone. I'll pick up the phone and I talk to them and they'll say something and it triggers that gratefulness. Let me tell you, the most recent time that I found myself in a dark spot, you know who I found? Let me tell you something, how God works. This is real right now. I'm being really transparent in the beautiful rain on the side of the freaking highway so you guys understand this.
The
The last time that I was in a dark hole, needing to change my career, I was fishing on Instagram like a lot of people. And I reached out to try to find a preserver, you know, somebody that could change the traction in the way my business is going. And I had maybe a few pennies or whatever. And I said, you know what, maybe I'm just going to reach out. I did something crazy and I actually filled out a form and reached out. You know who it was? My future business partner that's on this podcast with me right now. And that is John Medina. You know what John said? Hey, my man, if you're going to keep talking to me like that, I don't think I'm the one to help you. So I might have to hit the end button. So let's keep it positive, do 10 burpees, do something, but you got to change the whole attitude. I was like, God, is this you sending someone to me? You know what happened 2 weeks later? I called. Actually, it was 2 weeks before that. I was making a call because I needed some changes made. Hey, I need you to make some changes for me. I need this, and that done. I don't think I could do that for you. That's not the way it works. You know who that was? Mark. And look where I'm at now. These are 2 people that I have in my circle that answer the phone when I call. If I needed them, and I really needed them, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I feel they will pick up the phone. But it better be an emergency. It better not be to say, how you doing? But I really believe that if you get yourself a tight-knit circle, if you don't have one, pray for one. Get on your knees and ask God to send you that. Because none of us are meant to be here alone in this world. None of us. And if you get the right people around you, the right circle around you, and they feed nothing but positivity and can feed the seeds of greatness inside you, that's all you need to pull you out of it. That's your life preserver. It is up to you. And God does put the doors in front of you, but you still have to walk through them. That's how I made it through. Because God has always sent me someone, and I put in the work into having an attitude of gratitude and looking at my positive affirmations. I hope that answered your question. That's near and dear to my heart.
Sound like you had to build a strong support network. That's one of the jewels I learned from what John said and what you said.
Yeah, and that you know what? You said the magical word. You have to build it. That means you have to work at it. Nothing is given to you. John didn't give me a friendship. You didn't give me tutelage. You didn't just say, I'm going to talk to you just because. No, there's tests, there's time, there's cultivating a relationship. All that takes place. And then it becomes admirable respect. And then after that, everything falls into place where everybody actually becomes a circle and a unit. But there's a lot of people out there that think, oh, I don't need nobody. I could do this by myself. Good luck. Let me know how that works out for you.
What do we call that when they do that? That's ego, ain't it? Ego?
That's ego.
Okay.
That's huge ego. And you know what? Every one of us has an ego, but you got to learn how to suppress it, because the ego could bring you down. There's times you could reach in to use the ego to pull you, but that's like motivation. It's just gas. It only goes but so far. You still need the pull. Where's your pull? I get push. I could watch YouTube for push, but it runs out. Where's your pull? We're the person that's going to be in your ear, that's going to tell you, hey, everybody's allowed to have a bad moment. There's no such thing as a bad day. Let's go. You got your moment. You cried. You let it out. All right, let's go back to work. Let's go do this. What's your goals? Where are you at in your goals? What are you pushing? Oh, you could take constructive criticism. Well, Leo, you need to walk right. Pick up your pants. Don't wear that. That doesn't look right on you. You need that where it's constructive criticism, but you got to be able to accept it. And the only time you accept it is when you build that and you have a circle of people that you trust, because it comes from trust. Now, if you don't trust the person, that might not be constructive criticism. It could be a way to take you down. They're trying to eliminate the competition.
Negative talk. Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that, brothers.
And I appreciate you too, man. And I'm glad that there's only one type of love that I believe in, right? Which should be the main love, is tough love, right? You got to say the truth. You could be nice or you could be truthful. Nice is like, dude, if you're wearing a dress and he's ugly, I could be nice and say, it looks all right. And then you go out there and people are going to be laughing at you. But you come at me, I'm going to tell you the truth. Man, that thing's ugly. Take that thing down. You know, just take it off, right? And nobody else will laugh about, at you out there. So I feel the same way, like when Leo connected with me, right? That was the same way that I felt when I found my first mentor or coach back in 2020. I was praying to God, and God always answered, man. Right on time, never early, never late, right on time. All right. So that's that part, man. Let me ask
you this, John, Leo. Do y'all know a trick for God to give you your way faster? Do y'all know?
I think I know where you're going, faster, but
do you know?
It's called faith, man. But I know what you got.
The only thing I know is faith and prayer is all I got. Okay. But go ahead.
I'm gonna give y'all one of my secrets. You got to be crystal clear on what you want and what you ask for. Crystal clear.
Clear and definite purpose. Bible says the man without a vision fails.
That's right. You got to be very clear, crystal clear, that you can see it and feel it. So
that's right, man. That is 100%. So see it, visualize it, believe it. Bible says that if you call things that are not as if they are, they'll become so. By the way, that become so is my own translation. But call the things that are not as if they are. That's called faith. Is what you say. You got to see it. You got to be able to see it in your mind. Matter of fact, go touch the vision. Go touch the dream. Go walk the dream. Go expose yourself to it. Right? If you have a friend that have a mansion, see if you can sneak in there, right? Legally. All right, get an invitation.
Or do some open houses. You can do that too.
That too. Go to open. Mark is like, nobody get no ideas. But
or go in their cars. Go in their cars.
That's right. Yeah, I remember back in and I was not making. I was borderline broke when I did this. This is when I lived in New Hampshire. I went to a Porsche dealership. In my at the time I had a Kia Sportage. Man, I put in there. My shirt was old, raggedy. I didn't iron it that day. I went in there, and I wanted to touch a dream. But man, I had an experience with that particular salesperson. I would never buy a car from that guy. Nobody went outside. First of all, I went in. When you go to a car dealership, they usually come outside and greet you if they see you.
Right, it's supposed to. Right, yeah.
Yeah. Nobody came outside. And I go inside, and the person that's that I approached, right? They didn't even approach me. Didn't even want to attend. Didn't even want to pay attention. And he goes like, "Oh yeah," I goes like, "Hey, I want to go test drive this car, right?" It was a Macan Turbo, whatever, and he's putting an attitude, basically, right? Verbally, like physically.
He said, "You look like you had bad credit, John." That's what he's saying.
No, I had great credit.
No, that's what he's looking at you, thinking you had bad credit.
Yeah, what I didn't have was the cash flow for it yet. I was touching the vision, right?
Yeah.
And he slipped his mouth, and I still remember this to this day, man. He goes like, "Hey, let me get an ID so I can get rid of you."
Whoa.
Yeah, I feel a kind of way, but I didn't let it be seen. I laughed at it. I cracked the yoke back. I said, "You know what? Not for saying that. I'm gonna waste your time and go test drive the car." All right, and I did so, man, and I would never go back to that dude.
Wow.
Yeah, so always treat people right, man, because you never know. It's like when I was driving Uber in Boston. There was this 3 girls that I was driving one night in Boston downtown to this fancy club, and they were meeting one of their quote unquote boyfriends, one of the girls, right? And the boyfriend was young. He drive the Lambo, you know, and just the way that the difference of the attitude and the way that they converse with me until I spoke my mouth. Because once I opened my mouth, you could tell there's no fool there. I might be driving an Uber, but this is temporary, right? I was listening to books in between rides. I was not listening to music. All right, I was preparing the ground for when things took off. All right, and you could tell the way that they treat Uber drivers versus the way they treat a person that drives a Lambo. And you know what? I agree with that, by the way, respectfully so, because a person that drives the Lambo had to become a different person. But at the same time, don't ever talk down to nobody while they're down, because you never know who you're gonna meet on the way up. All right,
that's true, man. I teach my kids this because I always because I work so many jobs, John. I seen the apprentice become the manager or the supervisor, and the roles reverse, or people switch seats.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be careful who you're going to be working with in the future. That's one of the things. I have an advantage. Even when I first started selling life insurance, my leaders, my mentors, I always treated them with respect, no matter how bad of a job they did, because I knew one day the roles was going to be reversed, and I wanted them to give me the same respect. I believe in karma, man. I believe in karma because I know whatever, it's like a frisbee, like a boomerang. You send it out, it's gonna come right back and hit you. So you always want to put out good stuff, good energy out there. Now, it's a catch-22, John. Certain people treat people how they want to be treated, and that's why they get disrespected sometimes.
Explain that.
So, salespeople, right? They don't want to be sold. So guess what? That's why it's hard for them to sell. When they go to the mall and the person trying to sell you the cologne or the perfume or the watch or when you go to the kiosk, they're trying to get a picture of you so they can print it out for you. No, hey, no. So then it's your time to sell, and you won't sell because of the resistance you had in your mind of what you did to people. So yeah, go ahead.
So what you're telling me is that you sell how you buy.
Exactly. Yes. You have to. You have to treat people the same, man. You gotta be very careful. But don't be. I always say, don't be a sucker though. Don't be naive. Don't be a doormat. Don't be weak. Be assertive and open-minded when you're doing the things. When you're being nice to people. Because yes, you're being nice to people because you want to be treated nice, but sometimes people don't deserve your niceness or your respect. But that's why you have to build awareness and tolerance in due time, so that you can pick and choose who to be nice to, and who to be nice. What's the opposite of nice? Cruel. Who to be cruel to? But I don't believe in cruel. I just don't pay them no attention.
That's right. Yeah, and you're not a doormat, man. You're not supposed to take it. You're not a tree either. You know, you can move. A tree has got no choice by nature but to get stuck there from the moment that they're planted into the day that they dry.
Exactly.
All right. So that's right, man. And for example, I lived that right there because I lived it, right? I've had a hard time before when I started selling. I had a hard time selling because the same thing.
Yeah.
A hard time buying. All right. So now what I do is exactly what you said. Is listen, if I'm not interested in something, I'm gonna tell you on the spot, I'm not interested. All right. If I'm not ready, I'm gonna tell you, hey man, I'm not ready. This sounds cool, but I'm not ready for it just yet. That way I don't keep that salesperson just hoping that they got a sale. Like for example, I met with this young man last week. He does something. He has a team that does something that I want to incorporate in my business, right? And I met with him. I almost canceled the meeting. I met with him yesterday, I believe it was. And I text. I'm like, hey man, I'm not ready to pull the plug on this thing yet. I don't want to waste your time unless you could show me something to make me feel different about it. We could meet if you got something to show me. Otherwise, we could just go ahead and cancel. He sharp young man. He's young. He's like early 20s. And he goes like, you know what? Blah, blah. He replied. He said, maybe we could go over a few things to make sure I could answer any questions you may have, any doubts. Let's just say I met with a young man for about 15, 20 minutes. And next Thursday, I told him, listen, we schedule the onboarding. I'm going to pay you there. We're going to do the onboarding. I'll tell you what I need, and you just do it for me. And I told him, I'm still not a believer on the product itself, but I believe in you. So I'm going to bet on him. And that's it, man. Don't keep people lingering. What most people, salespeople do is, one, they keep people lingering. Like, oh, I'm not ready yet. Oh, let me think about it. Hey, let me talk to my dog real quick. Let me talk to my wife. Like, bro, stop lying. All right, if you don't got it, you don't got it. Say, hey, man, I'm not ready yet. Let's touch base in a month. You know, but I couldn't agree more with that, man. Because you put in karma. My coach says you put in karma credits out there.
Karma credits, I like that.
Karma credits. He said, dude, you don't want to ever have to cash those credits. So don't put it out there.
Yep.
Don't put it out there. And he goes with everything in life. You know? Yeah. So I love that, man. I love that. So let's talk about, man, what do you think we should bring out when it comes to setbacks and negativity, man? Because one thing that my coach always says is this, and also stoicism and even the Bible, man, it's like there's really nothing bad in life or good. Is what the perception of the situation is. Because what you may see as bad, for example, look, I'm in Florida, you're in Florida, it's raining outside, right? There might be two salespeople right now, like especially like solar salespeople and Jehovah's Witnesses. There's two. All right, you see how I did that? Respect. I respect them all, love them all. I love what they're doing. But there's two salespeople out there, right? And the audience may have heard this before, and you definitely have. There's two salespeople. It's raining outside, right? Jim Rohn used to say this. One salesperson, the numbers may linger and go down that month because he said, hey, man, it's raining outside. I'm definitely not going out there. And the other salesperson may say, hey, it is raining. This is the best opportunity to go out there because people are home, and especially the salespeople. See, it was one situation that could have been labeled as good or bad. It's just about perception and mindset, man.
It's all about how we talk. We could talk ourselves. Human beings are so special. We could talk ourselves into or out of any situation. I remember when my wife first had a baby, right? I had to make an excuse, say, you know what? I ain't going to the gym today because I'm gonna stay home and help her out because she needed help. The baby just born, and I was doing that for 3 kids straight. 3 of my kids. My daughter, she's gonna be 9. My other daughter gonna be 8, and my son gonna be 2. So I've been doing that for 9 years. I've been talking myself out of going to the gym 4 o'clock in the morning for what 7 years now. I've been going to the gym 5 o'clock in the morning for the last year, 18 months now. I can talk myself into or out of any situation I want. That's the thing about the human mind. Now I call it the feedback loop. We have to have certain people around us. I know Leo touched on it about the networking support system, but the feedback loop, meaning when something does happen negative to you, if you think it's negative, because things don't happen to you, things happen for you. So when things were happening for me, I said, you know what? It can't get this bad. It will never get this bad for no one else. I'm going to show people how to overcome all these situations. I remember when I first started in sales, door knocking, I was working up north, and I kept seeing all these Confederate flags.
And you feel very safe.
let me tell you, people that look like me was afraid to go up there. I went the door knocking them. And let me tell you, John, let me tell you the psychology I had in my mind. I said, you know what? These people are going to like me so much. They're older. They're not stuck in their ways no more because they used to probably think like this, right? And they're using this Confederate flag not because of who they're voting for, but because of history. So when I go in the house, I'm very positive, and I sold so much insurance to the Confederate flag community than I did down here in Miami, Florida, because I had a positive mind, and I respected people. I treated people the way I want to be treated. So I didn't look at the flag. I looked at the flag like, okay, this is my opportunity. These people want to make it to heaven. They got to treat me nice. So let me go knock on this door and present to them something something that they requested. These people requested information, and it's my job to give it to them. So I talked myself into that. I sold myself a story on, hey, these people gonna like me because I'm different.
That's it, man. And you would agree then that what you expect is what you get.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what would you have to say to those people, man, that they focus on the negative and then they notice that the only thing that keeps repeating every day, every single cycle is the same negative thought that they had the night before?
I would say first you need to insulate that with the things you listen to. So you need to start listening to motivational stuff. You need to start listening to Les Brown, Myron Golden, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar. You need some insulation. I always tell people this: you have an angel on this shoulder, and you have the devil on this shoulder. We need as many angels to stack up on this shoulder. So who's the angels? Your mentors that's on YouTube that you can't afford. That's who you listen to. The conversation that they're telling you, they're teaching you how to train your mind for free on YouTube. They're training you how to get unstuck, because that's what it is, John. They're stuck, and a lot of people they need to get unstuck by themselves, because if they get too much help, they're gonna be right back in that hole where they was at. So sometimes you have to allow people. Yes, you have to allow people to go through the storm that they have to go through in order to become stronger. Just like a butterfly. I know we used this analogy the other day. When the butterfly's in the cocoon, if you tear that cocoon up, that butterfly will not fly. It's gonna die because its wings is not strong enough. So allow people to go through their storm, but you have to have the awareness and make a decision and say, you know what? I'm not going to allow negativity to live here. You have to make a decision, and you have to have the self-awareness to say, you know what? This is not, I'm not doing this anymore. Moving forward, today is the last day. I'm going to allow negativity to ring in my head. And I use this analogy with my team. When someone is talking negative to you, or you talking negative to yourself, guys, this is you'll never forget this, because I'm gonna paint a visual for you right now. You'll never forget what I'm about to say. You know how you have that garbage after Thanksgiving? In the bottom of that garbage, John, there's a greenish Ninja Turtle color green in the bottom of that garbage bag. That's like somebody pouring that liquid in your ear every time you allow negativity to be spoke in your ear and your mindset. So every time your friend or your homeboy, your homegirl, whoever you work with talking negative, I want you to imagine that garbage juice going in your ear.
Wow, that's vivid, man. So how can people avoid people putting that negative garbage liquid in their ear?
Having high standards.
All right, and let's break that down. When you say high standards for the viewers, right? What do you mean by that?
Not allowing people to get away with certain things in your presence. In my community, they'll say you got to check them, and in the world, you got to say we got to correct them. Hey, look, yo, I don't know where you been at, or who you think you're talking to, or what's going on in your life, but I think you need to slow your roll. Or, hey, you know what? I don't know who pissed in your coffee. I don't know who urinated your lemonade, but I think you need to be grateful and watch your tone and just go somewhere else with that mess.
Mm.
You gotta train people how to come at you. You gotta teach people how to communicate with you, because you don't, they're gonna continue with the negative talk.
That's right, man. So whatever you allow to be happening or said around you, basically you're agreeing to it unconsciously. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like when people say, even my kids, I teach them this. I've been doing this for years now. Is I try to avoid the word "it's too expensive." I don't like to hear the word "it's too expensive." All right, and I got this from Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone always says, "Nothing is expensive. You just don't have enough money to buy it yet." All right, so it's just that, right? You know, like I went the other day to buy some like Starburst looking it's like a vitamin, but it's like a little candy, right?
Gummy bears, right? Yeah, gummy bears.
Kind of something like that, yeah, like Starburst.
Mhm.
And in the cashier, this thing costs like $15. All right, and I go to the cashier and I'm paying, and she was the second person I hear call that thing expensive. It's collagen in like a candy.
Okay.
And she goes like, "Oh my, I remember there was a lady yesterday. She returned it because she said it was too expensive." And my reply to her, I corrected her on the spot. It's an older lady. I was being respectful. She was very nice. And as I said, it's cheaper than medicine.
Did she understand what you meant by that?
She did. She said, "You're right." She giggled. She got it. She was thinking right. And then I commented on her hair. She had like nice short white hair here and pink hair on the top. I said, "By the way, I love your hair." She brightened right up. Yeah, I didn't leave her on a negative note, but it's like, man, if you let those things be said in front of you, it really engraves into your conscious and subconscious. You're like agreeing to it, and eventually you'll be saying it too.
Yeah.
All right. So it's what you tolerate. That's what you get in life, man. That's what you're gonna attract right back. Leo, my man, is back.
Oh, actually, for some reason, it left me in the back. I heard everything. I was like, there's not enough Q-tips to clean out that goo that comes out of that garbage can. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I got one of those words that I really don't like, and that's can't. When people say can't, I say it's not that you can't, it's that you won't. You can do it. You just won't do it. I don't really accept people tell me I can't do this. I can't. No, it's not that you can't. It's that you won't. And it's okay if you won't, but don't say you can't, because you can do anything you really want to. You just won't. And that's one of those trigger words for me. I really don't like hearing people saying they can't do something, because I feel that you're putting a limit not only on yourself, but on me too, because I'm around you. And if I accept it and I let you say can't, now I'm believing that you really can't do something, and now I put limitations on myself. So yeah, can't is my word. I do not like people saying the word can't.
And what would you recommend, Leo?
Won't.
What would you recommend, Leo? What's another question that they can ask for those people that say that they cannot do something? What's a comeback question that can basically deflect that lack mindset?
Well, that's where I say it's not that you can't, is you won't. And the reason I say won't is because when you say I won't do something, you made a decision. It goes back to what Mark was saying. It's all about decision. So if you tell me, "Oh, I can't do 20,000," no, you won't. Just say you won't do it, because you're not even trying. So you won't do it. You're making a decision not to attempt to do it. You already made a decision. So I want to make sure that they understand that they're making the decision, not leaving it up to the gods. You're just not doing it. You're choosing not to do it. I want you to know that you're making a choice. So whenever someone says can't, I usually correct them with you won't. Or I'll say something like, "Is it that you can't or you won't?" And they'll look at me like, "I can't." No, you mean you won't. So you made a decision already that you're not going to do that. Like that's how I make it. I make sure that they understand when they're around me that they're making that decision for whatever it is. "Oh, I would never, I can't eat there." No, you won't. Whatever your reason is, you made a choice. Whether you feel that you don't have the amount of money that it takes to eat in that place, it doesn't matter. You made a decision to not go there. It's not that you can't.
That is right, man. That is right. And what would you say for those people that truly cannot do something or afford something, right? Because we can do all things, right? Especially for us believers, we can do all things through Christ to strengthen us. But for those people that may want to purchase something that they may not have the financial strength yet, right? Would you agree that it would be helpful for them if they say, instead of, oh, I cannot buy that car, instead of asking them or telling themselves that and limiting their mindset on the spot, do you believe that it would be helpful if they ask themselves, how can I afford this car? How can I afford this
How
house?
can I afford it? What can I do to get it? How do I get it? Because now you're triggering your mind to get you to start moving in that direction.
There you go. That's it. That's it. So for those taking notes, by the way, Mike, thanks for connecting, man. I saw your comment here. Mike from the car wash here in Wikiwashi Car Wash in Spring Hill. I appreciate you watching, man, and Takira too. So that part right there is, man, when you tell the brain you can't, it's like you're putting a wall in front of it. But just like you said, Leo, when you ask yourself, how can I? Now the brain is gonna start looking, right? It's like if I tell Leo right now, hey Leo, how many red cars pass you by already?
I don't want to hear that. Why did you say? I knew you were going there, and I literally right now just saw 4 of them in front of me. That is sick. I knew you were gonna do something like that.
Now Leo's now gonna pay attention to the rest of the podcast. He's gonna be counting red cars now.
And there goes another one.
So that's it, man. That's the thing with the brain. The brain doesn't know. Some say, right, what is reality and what is not. It's like, for example, have you ever had a dream so scary that you wake up and your heart is beating super mega fast? All right. The brain doesn't distinguish whether you're living it on the flesh or if it's just in your brain. So if you're gonna deceive your brain to believe something or think of something, deceive it to think the thing that you want, not the thing that you do not want. All right. So, for example, for many years, I've seen myself with a convertible green Lamborghini. Right? It has green interior. It has the black rims and the green inside on the brakes. Right? I don't know what you call those brake pads. Right? I already envisioned my black G wagon. Right? A Brabus, double wide. Red interior or orange. I haven't decided yet. And I already saw the beach mansion in Miami. Right? I've seen the palm trees. I've seen the beach. I've seen the ocean. Now, the only thing I'm trying to decide in my brain is, do I want sand when I walk out of the beach, or do I want a boat dock with a yacht on it? That's my decision right now, and I'm serious. Help me decide on that.
Good options.
So I'm trying to decide, do I want to have a deck with a yacht on it, or do I want to be able to walk to the sand? Right? So I'm debating on that end. But right, in my mind, I'm already seeing it. I also saw myself with 6 packs, right? Ripped, jacked. Because the last thing you want is be in a Lamborghini and have knee pains. All right. That ain't going to go well. All right. I don't know if you guys seen the video of this guy on YouTube that he's a big older man and he's like rolling out of the Lambo. He's like, nope, this ain't for me.
John, Leo, I want you to think about this. Go back in time. Let's time travel right quick. Back in 1905, 1902. Think about when the Wright brothers told everybody they're going to take this machine and try to go across the Atlantic Ocean, or they're trying to go in the air and fly like a bird. They see the vision. They see it because they had to see it in their mind first. And imagine you telling somebody back in 1902, I'm going to take this contraction and go in the air. Do you know what type of negative talk would they face? Or my man Tesla, the real Tesla, when he talking about electricity, AC. Electricity, I'm gonna make there's not gonna be no more candles. This glass is gonna light up. When I say light up, I mean it's gonna illuminate. You're gonna see light. No more candles. Do you know how much hate or negative talk they received when they told people their dream, what they seen? Back in them days, they put you in a stretcher. They call you, put you in a crazy house to see a therapist. So what you just said, John, about you in a Lambo or walking on the beach or the deck, you're not too far from that. I believe you because you know why I believe you? Because it was done. Somebody else did it. Why can't you do it?
Mm-hmm. That's right. 100%. It's already done, man. It's already done. In my mind, it's already there.
Absolutely.
Right? And guess what? My coach has it. All of it. All of it. He's got 11 cars. I only won 2 right now. I may have to up those numbers.
There you go.
And he's 1 year younger than me. Talk about timelines now. That we got to push that to reality real fast. All right. So that's that, man. That You said, and I think the guy Tesla was it him that they sent him into a mental institute?
They did. Yes, they did several times. Yeah.
Imagine that. And it wasn't it the doctor himself that actually went and took the time to look at what he was talking about, right? And then he comes to the determination after consulting with another person that this guy might be into something.
Yeah.
And then the
doctor, they try to get this man a Nobel Peace Prize when he was too old to understand and appreciate it. So the doctor, he diagnosed him too late.
What do you mean? I missed that part.
Remember when he got a Nobel Peace Prize, they tried to give it to him. He didn't accept it because they didn't give him credit. They gave Thomas Edison all the credit for all of his accomplishments. So when they figured out that it was him, it was too late. He said, "You know what? I'm old now. I can't enjoy life now. Y'all put me in this mental institution. Now y'all want to celebrate me when I'm old and I'm sick. No, I'm straight. I'm good."
Yeah. Now imagine that, man. Talk about setbacks, right? And negativity and bad experiences and people against you and the world against you, calling you crazy, right?
Yeah.
When everybody's using candles and you're saying this piece of glass is going to illuminate and light up your property, your house, you no longer have to light up these candles and put together this wax and all the troubles that people went to back in the days with candles. Because nowadays we don't even think about it. We got these fancy candles, right? They didn't have fancy candles back in the days. Those candles had to last a very long time. It's not this cheap wax that we get nowadays.
Right.
All right. So imagine talking about setbacks, man, and he still did it. Right. Most people you put him in one of those mental institutions, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I was just kidding, guys. I'm fine, you know." Psyched,
And they gave up on their dream.
Yeah. And even despite of that, man, being taken away from your family and put in a mental institute, that man Tesla never gave up.
Never.
And now we're able to stream live because of that thing that he discovered.
Nikola Tesla, that's his name.
That's it, man. Man is a genius. So to wrap up, man, because I know right now there's somebody watching this, or maybe somebody watching may know somebody that might be going through a setback or negative experience in their life, right? And whatever that negative experience is. Like, for example, and I'll wrap up with this one before you guys wrap it up as well, is I remember when my father-in-law and then my father passed away, right? Then in my mind, I was like, you know what? After I went through whatever I went through for about a week, I snapped out of it within a week. Thanks to the Band of Brothers, by the way. I had two brothers that dragged me to a Band of Brothers boot camp for a weekend. And it's like a spiritual retreat. But they like to call it a boot camp because they actually shoot guns there. So it was pretty cool. But they dragged me there. Why? Because one of them, Julio Soto, right? He lost his father 2 years before me. He already knew what I was going through. He goes, you know what? And I was like, dude, I ain't going. I don't want to pay for it. They go like, don't worry, we'll pay for it, which they did. I'm like, I don't want to drive an hour and a half. They go, don't worry, brother, we got you. One of them went and picked me up. They drove 45 minutes one way to pick me up and then drove an hour and a half the other way. That weekend, man, I snapped right out of it. An experience that would have probably cost me years mentally. Because I had not seen my father in person since I was 16. That was the last time I went to the Dominican Republic. I spoke with him on the phone. I saw him on WhatsApp video calls, but that was about it. But a man that went through an experience like that, he was able to rescue me way faster than when he got out of it. And guess what? Now when someone, if anybody and their parents, which actually happened twice, some people around me lost their parents, I was able to relate to them and help them with the process. Matter of fact, my nephew lost his father just a few months ago. So
you know what you're doing, right, John? You're collapsing time.
That's it.
The grieving time, you're collapsing it.
Yeah, Julio was able to take me out of it in a week. I was able to talk to my nephew and get him out of it in a few days. Right? So that's what connecting to the right people is going to do for you. All right. But if you get the setback to put your mind and block it and say I can't, then you just messed it up for yourself. Ask yourself, how can I? What is the way? What are different options to get there? All right. And you will get there. So I say that for people that may be going through something similar or know somebody that is what you focus on grows, man.
That's right.
So, any last words, man, from Mark and Leo?
So I'll say this, man. I want everyone to keep in mind, stay adaptable and open to change. That's what I want to end that way. I want everybody to remember that. Stay adaptable and open for change.
Awesome. Mr.
How about
Leo.
you, Leo?
That was deep. Me is God will provide doors, but you still have to walk through them. Look for the doors. They're there. That's all everybody's always praying to God, I need, please, please, please. And God will provide the doors. You still have to walk through them. That's it. That's what I got for you.
I love it, man. Powerful ending. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys watching as well. Share this stream, like it. Make sure you're following wherever you're watching. We're about to do something very, very special. And we're doing this for you guys, the viewers, and people that you may know. So go ahead and share it, like it, subscribe, do what you got to do. And even better, if you want to comment and tell us, hey, what is a subject that you may need help with? Comment it in the comments. We'll look at it. And we may just bring that same subject and dissect it for you the next week.
There you go.
So we appreciate you guys. Stay blessed. And remember, what you focus on grows. So might as well focus on the right things that you want. Stay blessed.